Yeah, and I think this leads us into our next point perfectly. You should not buy the meta. You should buy as you go with the rule of cool, which is also to say you should limit your pile of shame. I don't do this. This is a bad thing about my own hobby mistakes that I've made. Drew does this kind of really good, better than anybody I've ever seen. Where you just want to buy the models that you're going to work on, and then you work on those models. You get them painted, you get them built, painted, ready to go, and then you buy your next kit. You don't have a huge backlog that's going to weigh you down, and you're going to be working on something. And you're like, man, I have like 300 kits, in my basement that I need to paint still. And you're like, oh man, I could be working on this, but now I want to work on this, but I could be working on this. But if you just limit that and you just work on the things that you bought, and you don't go past that, you don't create a huge backlog for yourself, that's going to keep you motivated. Because when you finish, maybe you're working on boys. We're going to keep the orc examples going. Maybe you're working on boys and you're like, oh man, I would really like to have some storm boys because I think they look really cool. They have those cool jetpacks, those rocket packs or whatever. You're gonna, get done with your boys. You're gonna be motivated to get done with the boys to move on to the next kit and buy it and have it and build it and all that stuff. You're gonna be motivated to get done with your boys so you can then move on to the unit that you're excited about. It'll keep you moving, as opposed to you have your boys halfway done and you already have Storm Boys because they're in your backlog, and you're like, well, I want to go build Storm Boys, and you build your Storm Boys, and you get them primed, and then you're like halfway done with everything, like me. But then like it just like makes it so that you never get fully done with anything. So like buying as you go and kind of chipping away at it in that aspect is a much smarter path. I'm bad at that. Drew is much better at that than I am.
Yeah, I think it's like if you're poor, it's great because you're just like I can't
You're already a foot in.
I can't afford the next one, so I'm going to get this one done. And like when you get that one done and then you can afford the next one, it's not only you're excited to work on the next model and you want to get the one done so you can work on the next model. It's like, yay, I can afford the next model and it's shipping to my house. And then when it gets there, you're like ripping the box open like it's Christmas morning, and
Yeah.
you open it up and you go, my Storm Boys, I'm so excited to paint these. And you get out your knife and you rip off the cellophane of the box. You open it up and you look at the sprues and you smell them and you're like, Storm Boys. And I'm going to clip these out with my Citadel clippers. If you
Oh,
are an
God, don't
idiot
do
and you
that.
bought those, if you bought them, you're not an idiot. Sorry. If you bought
I
those,
bought them. I literally bought them, so I'm an idiot.
you're going to snip them out. You're going to glue them together. You're going to prime them as fast as possible so you can get to painting them because you're excited. But like you said, if you just have a bunch of stuff, you're going to get to the point where you get them all assembled, you're going to get them all primed, and they're all going to get half painted, and you're just going to be like, I don't know what I want to get done. And it's almost like
Yeah.
you get to the point where you have to use the other motivational techniques we were talking about. I got to limit my scope. I got to just get on the table and see what's good to figure out what I want to focus on next. It's like as soon as you get this very, very large pile of shame, um, it becomes it becomes very difficult in your mind to juggle all of it. It's you just have so much to do. It becomes an insurmountable goal to get past. So if you limit yourself, you are limiting your scope. You're physically limiting your scope where you're just like, I can't paint anything else because I don't own anything else.
Yeah. It's that same feeling that you get when I'll do two examples here. If you're on Steam and you have a bunch of Steam games and you're like, oh, what do I want to play next? And you go through your whole Steam library and you're like, all right,
Nothing.
which one of the 300, 600, 900 games do I want to play? And you scroll through your games and literally it just blurs in your brain of like, I have that game, this game, all these games that I would like to play at some point. I don't know if I want to start any of them right now. And then you end up just not even playing anything. Or it's the same feeling that you get when you're scrolling through Netflix. You're like, oh, well, what do you want to watch? And you just start scrolling, and then you're like, and then by the time you actually decide what you're actually gonna watch, it's like too late to even start watching the damn show. You're just like, let's just do something else. I don't know.
I hate Netflix. I'm not gonna watch anything.
Yeah. So it's like, just limiting the options that you have is also like, it gets you out of that like decision paralysis of what do I want to work on and what should I work on next, and just limiting that and staying excited about the thing that you just bought and keeping your pile of shame small is great advice that I should follow, but I'm literally too far gone that I can't.
Yeah, if you already got a pile of shame, you might be past the point of no return. And for all of you, we've come up with other goals that you can follow to hopefully get rid of your pile of shame.
You know what? Like, to the pile of shame people, I'll give you this tip, because I've literally used this in my own hobbying. Limit yourself to one faction. I have a lot of factions and a lot of games and a lot of all these different minis laying in my basement that I could work on, but I'm limiting myself to only working on Space Wolves. And that is my limiting factor that keeps me motivated, because eventually I would like to build a Tau army, but I'm limiting myself to working on Space Wolves, and it keeps me motivated, because once I get my Space Wolves in a good spot, then I can be excited about getting to my Tau. And that is a motivating factor for me. I want to get done with my Space Wolves just so I can get to my pile of shame, basically. It is a good thing that kind of keeps you have to be a little disciplined on it. They're all there waiting for you to work on them. But if you limit yourself to a portion, a faction and a game of your pile of shame, it'll keep you motivated to get that to completion before you move on to the next thing.
Yeah. This is like a weird one where I feel like it doesn't apply to software development. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, all you software developers. You usually want to have a healthy backlog. I guess if you focus too much on getting a healthy backlog, you're never doing development.
That's fair.
Boom, I brought it around.
You just listened to a clip from Inwarp Mag. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our full podcast episodes right here on our channel. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to our podcast or to listen to more of our awesome clips.